What's up, everybody? Here we're going to be you got a two-problem assignment, and you'll be solving these equations here. And for that f parentheses x, you want to get rid of that and put y in for it, actually. Okay. So it says find all the zeros of the equation. Now, all the zeros, I mean everything where the y is 0. So put equals 0 behind it. What you're really finding is all the places where this graph would cross the x-axis. Okay. So there's 3 answers. So 1, 2, 3. And for the first answer, what I'm going to do is simply use trial and error. You cannot factor these, okay? If you try to factor these using grouping, it's not going to work because those two parentheses won't end up the same. So first, let's try the solution of 1, and let's see if that gives me a y value of 0. So 1 to the third minus 5 parentheses 1 second power minus 22 and then 1. Plus 56. That gave me 30, so 1 is not one of the answers. Now, after 1's done, try negative 1. Nope, that gave me 29, or 28, sorry. Let me try negative 1 again. I'm not sure I punched that in right. Yep, I was getting, so negative 1's not an answer. Now let's try positive 2. So 1, negative 1. Now let's go into our 2. So let's see if 2 works. Yep, okay, finally. 2 is my first solution. And now once I have that, I'm going to use my synthetic division. I'm going to synthetically divide the equation by 2. So my coefficients would be 1, negative 5, negative 22, and 56. So I drop the 1. 1 times 2 is 2. So it's going to be negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then we add. And that's negative 28. And negative 28 times 2 is negative 56, which gives me 0. So now it goes from an x to the third power equation to x to the second. So 1x second minus 3x minus 28 equals 0. Okay, so there's 3 terms there, so we'll use the GCF. And then I want to use my T-chart to see if I can do that. So GCF, there wouldn't be 1. And then ABC, so 1 times negative 28 is negative 28. We're looking for a difference of 3. And that's going to be 4 and 7. Now the a up there is equal to 1, so I just need 2 parentheses. And then 4, 7. So we got minus 3, so you're going to have minus 7, and difference would be plus 4. Okay, so either my factor of x plus 4 could equal 0, or the factor of x minus 7 could equal 0. So minus 4, I get negative 4. There's your second answer. Plus 7, I get 7. Okay, there they are. Okay, now let's turn the page past some of this stuff to this right here. Okay, there's a lot of kind of garbage in here that I really don't care that much to go over, so. Okay, so 3x to the third plus 4x second minus 35x minus 12. Now remember, this thing is just a fancy way that you're going to see, and I put that there because a lot of times they put f of x on ACTs, and it's kind of stupid. So it's really just equal to y, but we want to find the points where the y would be 0. Okay, so I'm looking for 3 answers here. And first answer, I'm going to use trial and error again. So I'm going to try 1. So 3 and then 1 to the third plus 4 and then 1 to the second minus 35 times 1 minus 12. Okay, that 1's obviously not an answer. Now let's try negative 1. -1 second. It's really just knowing how to use your calculator. Okay, 24. So it's not, now I go do my 2. So 3 and then 2 to the third plus 4 and then 2 to the second. It gets kind of boring. That's why I only assign 2 problems. Okay, so 2 doesn't work. Now let's try -2, see if that'll work. No, let's try 3. I got one. Okay, finally, 3. So the first solution's 3, so now I synthetically divide by 3 to get my other 2 answers. So I've got 3, and then 4, and then -35, and then -12. So I drop my 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Remember, we're adding here. 4 plus 9 is 13. 13 times 3 is 39. Remember, we're adding. That gives me 4, and then 4 times 3 is 12, and I get 0. So now the new equation is 3x to the second power plus 13x plus 4 equals 0. So trinomial, so we look for a GCF, and then we see, okay, and then we see if we can get our t-chart to work. And if the t-chart doesn't work, we do want to use the song. So GCF, no. So 3 times +4 is +12. So you're looking for a sum that's going to equal 13. Well, 1 and 12, there's 13 right there. So this is factorable. And A is equal to 3, so I need 4 parentheses. And I lead off with my 3. 3. And then there's x squared, so that's x, x, and then 1 and 12. Okay, so we have plus 13, so you got plus 12, and sum would mean they're both plus. So 3x plus 1 will remain the same, and this would be divisible by 3, so 1x plus 4. Okay, so 3x plus 1 equals 0, or 1x plus 4 equals 0. So I minus 1, 3x equals -1, and I divide by 3, and I get -1/3 for my second answer, and then you're just going to get -4 for your third. Okay. Okay, next problem. Next problem's kind of, there's going to be a little bit different thing. Again, you want to find all the zeros of the function, so equals 0. There's 3 answers. And again, I'm going to go with my, and you notice how we go from x to the third to x, okay? That's going to be important when I set up my synthetic division to get that right. So I plug in 1 to the third, minus 31, and then 1, and then minus 30. Okay, so it's not 1, now try -1. It's kind of how you want to follow that. Okay, you got 0, so -1 is my first solution, but here's now the tricky part. That it's not really hard, but people always overlook it. So I'm going to synthetically divide by the -1. Okay, so you have 1x to the third, but you don't have an x to the second. So since it skips over x to the second, you need to put 0 to tell your synthetic dividend that there's no x to the second. So that 0 needs to be there. And then x would be -31, and then the constant term would be -30. Okay. Without me putting that 0 here, this is going to end badly. The 0's got to go. So 1 times -1 is -1. -1 times -1 is 1. You get -30. -30 times -1 is 30. That's 0. Okay, now it goes from x to the third to to 1x to the second minus 1x minus 30 equals 0. Then I've got a nice smooth trinomial. GCF, there was not going to be one. Okay, So 1 times negative 30 is negative 30. I'm searching for two factors that give me a difference of 1, and that can be found with 5 times 6. Okay, now A is indeed equal to 1 up here, so I just need the two parentheses. And then 5, 6. So I've got minus 1, so you got minus 6, and then difference would be plus. Okay. So either the factor of x plus 5 could equal 0, or the factor of x minus 6 can equal 0. So minus 5, I get negative 5 for my first answer. Plus 6, I get 6 for my third. Okay, next problem. It's equal to 0, so 3 solutions I know I'm looking for. Okay, let's try 1. So 2 times 1 to the power of 3 minus 7 times 1 to the power of 2 plus 9. Nope. Now try negative 1. 2 times negative 1 to the power of 3 minus, 7 times negative 1 to the power of 2, and then plus 9. Okay, it gave me 0, so negative 1's my first answer. So I'm going to synthetically divide by negative 1. Now your dividend, you have a 2 as the x to the third, you got a negative 7 as x to the second, and you don't have an x at all, x the first, so you need to compensate for that with a 0 and then 9. It's the only way, okay? Okay, so I take 2 times negative 1's negative 2, then I add, that's negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 1 is 9, that's 9. And then 9 times negative 1 is negative 9, so 0. So I have 2x squared minus 9x plus 9 equals 0. Okay, so we're doing the GCF and then our T table. Okay, so there is no GCF. So 2 times 9 is 18 positive, sum of 9, and then you can find that with 3 times 6. And A in this problem is equal to 2, so we would need 4 parentheses here. And I lead off each one with the 2, and then XX, and then 3, 6. Okay, so I've got minus 9x, so you got minus 6 for sure, and a sum means they're both minus. Okay, 2x minus 3 would remain the same factor, and this goes to x minus 3. Okay, so 2x minus 3 could equal 0, or x minus 3 could equal 0. So I plus 3, 2x equals 3, divide by 2, and you can put 1.5 or 3 over 2, and then plus 3, x is 3. Okay, last one, but this one's kind of a little bit different. It's a little bit more annoying. Okay, again, we want to find the zeros of that equation, and this time I'd actually be looking for 4 of them, and none of these problems are going to be factorable by grouping. They're all prime, meaning they can't be factored. Okay, so first off, let's try to find our first answer before we talk about getting another one. So 1 to the power of 4 minus 2 times 1 to the power of 3 minus 9 times 1 to the power of 2 plus 10 times 1 and then minus 24. Okay, 1's not it. Now try negative 1. Negative 1 to the fourth minus 2 times negative 1 to the third minus 9 times negative 1 to the second plus 10 times negative 1 and then minus 24. Dang it. Okay, now try 2. 2 to the fourth minus 2 times 2 to the third minus 9 times 2 to the second plus 10 times 2 minus 24. All right, negative 2. This is where this starts to get annoying when you have to go into like negative. So negative 2 and then 2 to the third minus 9 and then negative 2 to the second plus 10 and then negative 2 minus 24. No, now try 3. 3 to the 4th minus 2 times 3 to the 3rd minus 9 times 3 to the 2nd plus 10 times 3 minus 24. Try negative 3. Negative 3 to the 4th minus 2 times negative 3 to the 3rd minus 9 times negative 3 to the 2nd plus 10 times negative 3 minus 24. Finally, I get my first answer. But here's the problem. All that's going to do is take it from x to the 4th down to x to the 3rd. Okay? We need to actually get it to x to the 2nd. So I need to keep going and find another through the trial and error. So now let's try 4. Because I just got negative 3 to work, and the next to go to would be 4. So 4 to the 4th minus 2 times 4 to the 3rd minus 9 times 4 to the 2nd plus 10 times 4 minus 24. Okay, that got me 0 too. Okay, so what do you know? Now here's what I need to do. I need to synthetically divide twice over because I have two numbers here. Negative 3 is the first dividend, and then positive 4 is the second. So I've got 1, negative 2, negative 9, 10, and negative 24. So I drop that. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, and we add 15, then we add, and that's 6. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. That's negative 8. And then positive 24, okay? And that's 0, okay? Now, what you want to do is just keep on plugging. So you drop your 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Then 2 times 4 is 8, and that's going to be 0. Okay, so now it goes to x to the 2nd. So 1x to the 2nd minus 1x plus 2 equals 0. You go with the GCF and your T-chart. GCF, I don't believe you'd have one. 1 times 2 is 2, so positive 2, and you're looking for a sum of 1, but that you can't get it because 1 and 2, that's a sum of 3. So we got to go to our song. So opposite of b is 1 plus or minus the square root, parentheses second, minus 3 straight parentheses, okay, and then 2 times 1. So we got negative 1, 4, and then 1 and 2. So I've got 1 plus or minus and then 2 on bottom. So let's plug that in the calculator and see what we get. So second square root and then negative 1 to the 2nd minus 4, 1, and 2. Okay, I got a domain error. So what I'm going to do is set up 2 square roots, a square root, and then I'm going to plug that expression in without the calculator. So negative 1 second minus 4, 1, and 2. Okay, so I got negative 7. So we need to extract an I, so that means we need to be thinking of maybe something we can divide by. That's a perfect square, but I really can't divide by anything, 7 by any of the perfect square numbers. So I put I square root 7, and then those are my answers. 1 plus I square root 7 over 2. 1 minus I square root 7 over 2. Fortunately for you, I didn't put any like this on the assignment. They're pretty well. They're both x to the 3rd powers and so forth. Okay.